Hello, I'm Richard, and in this video we're going to go over some of the pros and cons, or just kind of an overview of our experience on our shakedown trip of this cargo trailer conversion. We had converted this a month or so ago. We completed it. We've just been waiting for decent weather. A large enough weather window so that when we left, we weren't going someplace where it was going to be muddy and soggy, and then be able to get out before the next storm hit. And that's just, we did. It started to sprinkle yesterday when we left, and it had rained, a day and a half before we went. And so we caught a small window. The big picture is we went for 3 nights and 4 days. We went in such an area that we could kind of test this thing but not go too far from home. So we were within a half hour of this location, and we were on a windy road, so we did a lot of 20-mile-an-hour turns and a lot of stuff to kind of shake things around and see how it would turn out. We were on a section of highway, so we were at 55-mile-an-hour speeds for a while. And then we ended up by being on a gravel and dirt road. We had some ruts, from the rain, and washboard to go over, but only, probably half a mile. And so we got to experience that. At one point, it was steep enough and rough enough that I was in low gear. My Dodge has a 6-speed manual in it, and I was in low gear idling, and just to not jar the rig too much. And because of the washboard road and the loose dirt and gravel, I thought I was going to have to stick it in 4-wheel drive to keep from throwing rocks on the front of the trailer. So it was a little bit slick going in, but especially when the truck and trailer almost weigh the same. This trailer converted now, we're with loaded and everything, we're about 6,500 pounds, and the truck loaded was about 7,500 pounds. So we took this trip to see how this would all stand up. And so, without any other further ado, let's take a look at the inside, and I'll just kind of go around in the trailer and talk about the different components and items and how they fared in this shakedown trip. Well, let's put some light on the subject here. I'll turn on these lights even. Well, we'll start just inside the door here. See if I can zoom it all the way out. First we have here is, this is kind of the wardrobe. So we had folded items, that kind of stuff in the upper. All the hanging items go below. Plenty of room. We figured that this, based on this experience now, that we're good for a 2-week outing, as far as, the amount of clothes we could carry, amount of food we could carry, so forth. And next we have the one of the pantry areas, and the microwave oven. Used the microwave several times. Worked really well. Really was surprised, even though it's a small microwave, it cooked things pretty good for being like a 900 watt thing. I thought we'd have to increase the times from what we're used to with our 12, or I think it's a 1200 watt one at home. But no, happy with it. We used the induction cooktop one time. Again, worked really well. My wife's not used to using one, but you can use a timer. You can use you could cook by temperature, or you could cook by a numerical setting. And so she's used to an electric cooktop, inductive cooktop, not inductive, resistive cooktop, and so it's numbered 1 through 9 or 10. So she liked that. She just did it numerically, found that it worked very similar, except for it's a lot faster, and you don't get this hot surface when you're done. So that worked well. Down here, of course, is the electronics cabinet. One of the solar charge controllers is in there, as well as our main battery bank. Well, I don't say main, the one that I use first. We've got 3 battery banks in this, and they're all approximately 5.3 or 5.4 kilowatts hours, and so they're switched individually. So what we're running off right now is at pack 1. It's the only one we used on this trip, and the lowest we got down was like 48%. The beauty was that with the solar, we were able to be recharged. I don't think it ever got to even noon. But let me give you some more insight. So this is a 3,000 watt pure sine wave inverter and charger in one, and then that's a 60 amp solar charge controller, which is connected to the 800 watts of solar panels on the roof of the trailer. That by itself probably been sufficient for us, but we had a little bit of overkill because we also have a 100 amp solar charge controller. That's what connects to the solar array on the bed of the truck, which is 1600 watts. That was covered partially by shade at different times, just where I parked and everything, and wasn't a big deal. So there were times that this and the roof were putting out the same. There's times when this was putting out less than what the roof was putting out, because the roof wasn't obstructed in any way. And we were in like a little bowl, so we had mountains around us, and at least the east and west, and especially to the west, and also trees. So as the sun went down, it was a shorter day than it would have been if we'd been out in the open. Let's put it that way. But it really didn't matter, because we have so much excess solar capacity that, like I said, boom. Now, from the consumption angle, we were running the air conditioning, and the first 2 days I ran it from the time it got like 72 degrees in the trailer. I turned it on and maintained 70 degrees in this trailer. And give you a little more pertinent information. The ambient air temperature where we stayed, lows were like 44 degrees and highs were in like the mid 80s. And we were in full sun as far as the trailer goes. Like I said, the truck had partial shade. So this kept it nice in here. We used the heater in the morning to bring it up to 70. We didn't run it at night at all. The lowest I got in here inside was 58, I want to say. 56, somewhere in there. And it warmed it up very quickly. And then, like I said, during the day we had the highs in the mid 80s, and this maintained 70 degrees. Now the last day, the last full day, I did another little trial, and so we also have covers for the windows. So they're reflective on one side, and they're insulated, and so, but they're not super insulated. They're fairly thin, but they're supposedly insulated. But put the reflective out, of course, and we put that on the sunny side of the trailer every day. And so when we'd leave it open on the side that was in the shadow, the shade, and then on the sunny side we had the covers on. Although we spent, most of our time outside, but that kept it from getting warmer in here by putting the shades, the covers over the windows. And then that last day, what we did is we covered the windows on the sunny side as usual, but then we would open the windows on this side, and we had the vents open, and we had the bathroom fan on low, so we were always drawing air in and out of here. And then that evening, 5-ish or whatever, when we came into the trailer, 5:30, we turned on shut the windows and turned on the air. Took us down to 70 real quick. Yeah, very pleased with the way that worked. Now, we used the microwave, we used the heating and air conditioning, we used the induction cooktop. We used the hot water heater. Now, we didn't use all these things. Microwave was used every day. The heating and air conditioning were used every day, but the hot water heater wasn't used every day, and the inductive cooktop wasn't used every day. Lights, fans, water pump, all the normal things, they were used every day. But the things that are on 24/7 are the freezer and refrigerator. And this side we used as a refrigerator. We maintained, I had it set at 34 degrees. That made 34 degrees. And we maintained 10 degrees, and this is Fahrenheit, on the freezer side. And so, and I had thermal density. We didn't have a lot of freezer stuff with us, so I had a lot of freezer density, or thermal density in here. And I have blue ice, and that's what we use to cool these downs before trip. I mean, I've always done it this way. And so those were in a refrigerator or freezer, they're in the freezer all the time. And before a trip, I'll put them in the units. And so I put a bunch in the freezer one, and about a third as many in the refrigerator one. And when I first turn them on, that helps them cool down quickly and efficiently, so they're not having to just try to cool down nothing but air in there. So that, they shut off the first time very quickly. Half hour to an hour at the most. I don't remember exactly now, but it was quick. I was surprised how quickly, because I haven't used these in a long time. One of them I've had and I had used in the past a couple times, but we bought a new one, and so we'd have the two matching units. And like I said, the freezer, I never saw it come off 10. That thing just stayed perfect. The refrigerator had less thermal density in there, and as we were consuming the food, it got less. Matter of fact, I even took some of the thermal density out of the freezer and added it to here to kind of help, because I would see this go from, I saw it go down to 32 one time, but it was basically between 34 and 37. And so anyway, they ran all the time. They pull, when the compressor's on, they pull about 5 amps and some change each. So 60 watts, basically. They pull 60 watts when they're running. So 120 watts, so they're both on. They weren't on that much. Couple other comments about the refrigerator and freezer. They're quiet. So, you know, the bed comes down and we're basically right on top of those things. And it was not you know, it's just a real, I just call it gray noise or white noise, whatever. And very low decibels. Didn't bother my wife or I at all. So we were happy about that. And so with all that being said, the maximum discharge that we would see, you know, once the sun went down, we weren't getting any solar anymore, which would, I want to say it was somewhere right around 4 o'clock, the solar would really drop off to the point where we were probably having a little more consumption if we were in here doing anything than we had, you know, input from the solar. But we were pretty much just zeroing out at that point. Whatever the refrigerators were and freezer were drawing, that's about what solar we might be getting in. And then, you know, everything going after 4 o'clock, the solar decreased. And then and this is, you know, early April. So, yeah, that was just the way that went. But, you know, then when you run the hot water heater, which again, I'll touch on it now, even though we're not not that point in here. I'll talk about it. It's housed in that lower cabinet in the bathroom, and it's a Bosch 4-gallon electric water heater, and it heats up in less than half an hour. So I mean, just from not being used at all, I turn it on, and in under 30 minutes it had cycled off. And it's enough hot water to do dishes. You can take a quick shower without any problem. If you lollygag, it'll start getting cold on you. So it's kind of forced conservation. You save water unless you like a cold shower. So, but it was enough. You wouldn't want to go any smaller. I think a 6 would be, you know, probably perfect for everybody. But, you know, when you're trying to save weight, space, and all that, the 4-gallon worked out fine. It's the smallest hot water heater I've ever had in a trailer. And I've had lots of 6s. Our fifth wheel had a 10. But even with the 6s, I don't ever remember running out of hot water. So that's why I gave the 4 a try this time. Not sorry I did. It worked perfect. Has quick recoup time. You can take a shower, and by the time you're out of the shower and dressed, it's, you know, cycled off and ready to do dishes. I mean, that type of thing, or for the next shower. So worked very well. But that's our biggest consumer probably for the, you know, based on the draw. I don't remember, 14 to 1600 watts, something like that. And based on the time. Nothing else I can think of draws that much and runs that length of time. So that's probably the biggest draw on the system. But anyway, not an issue. Having you know, that 5.3 or 5.4 kilowatt hours, and the most we ever used was maybe a little over half that. I think it got down to 48% state of charge. So what that means then, and we weren't being conservative at all. We were just, going about our day. The only thing I was conservative with was, and I really wasn't, I took a longer shower than I should have. I started to get some cold water. But I was just, I'm testing the limits at this point. So anyway, we weren't being conservative really on anything. And based on our consumption, water, power, and all that, we could go a week. I think that's probably, comfortably a week is about all you're going to go without having to go into a serious conservation mode. Now, as far as the battery packs, like I said, I have 3 of them. At 48%, that was just on one. So based on this experience, if you took the solar out of the picture, I'm thinking that we could go, again, a week without any solar and not have a problem. And I plan on longer trips taking my inverter and or generator, technically an inverter, but so that we don't have confusion between this inverter and the inverter that plugs into my shore power. Having that along basically would give us, unlimited. And the fact that you're mobile, we can follow the sun. And our plan is we're not going to be dealing with the extremes. We're looking to stay between 60 and 80 degrees, 90 at the worst. So that's the plan. So let's continue around the trailer. Underneath there, that's a Levelmate Pro. It didn't work very well. The distance between it and the truck must be too great or something, because it would lose signal. And so it wasn't like I could drive around and find that level spot. So it didn't work as well as I'd hoped. So that was my first disappointment. Although once I got it, in a spot, the trick would be in the future, let my wife, have that app on her phone, not me in the cab of the truck, and then she can, hey or nay, to get it closer. There's always, more than one way to skin a cat. So that I think is it's going to be doable in the future. It just didn't work, the way I was hoping to have my phone sitting on the console in the truck and drive around, find the most level position. And there weren't very level positions where we were staying, so you'll see in the photos that we were as high as we could get on the one side in order to get that level. The next item we come to is the camera system, and we have 4 cameras, and they worked well. I could see what's going on behind us, in front of us, and on the sides. So that turned out good. No complaints there. Our cushions. Now this one's got a little more poof to it than this one, but neither one of them, you're supposed to put them out in the sun, and we just really, we didn't do it on the trip, set them out, although they were in the trailer the one day. It got a little bit warmer in here because I didn't run the AC, but they were a disappointment. They're not very comfy. I've got little pieces of foam underneath them for now, just to add something. We have memory foam cushions for the truck. My wife and I have been known to do 12, 14-hour days in the saddle, and so we've got these memory foam cushions that you put on the truck seat just to give your butt something different than the truck seat to feel for a while. And so those are in the truck all the time. We brought those in and sat on, and it was it was doable. But we're going to have to come up with something different. Either stuff these or come up with different cushions or something, because these weren't acceptable as is. The window covers worked well. We were happy with those. The windows, you open those up at night. We'd have a fan going and the windows open later in the evening. Worked really well. That was right before bed. Speaking of bed, the bed up here worked well. Let's see if I turn off the lights there. The electric bed lift, that's one of the sweetest things. It's just a little bit noisy, but it's so fast. It's up and down in just seconds that it doesn't really matter if it's noisy. It's a very short-lived noise. But very convenient. Thing goes down, you sleep and it goes back up. I mean, why take up all this space? I mean, our fifth wheel had a whole room around a bed and a closet. It just is a lot of wasted space in depending on how you want to look at it. And so to us at this point, we figured that with the bed up out of the way, the majority of the day, we don't have that footprint to deal with. And I'm short enough that I can walk, my wife and I can walk right underneath this thing, never have to duck, never have to worry about it. And we still have 10 inches of memory foam comfort. So the bed was comfortable, no complaints. The table and chair setup, liked it a lot. We tried some different ways, and yeah, it just gave us that versatility. We could move it outside and play games on it if we wanted to. But no, that setup worked real well. At night, we would stick the chair in the shower, and I just would set the table, lean it up against the bench right here, because it's shorter than that run right there, and it was out of the way. So again, another positive. Things worked well. Of course, we got storage underneath both benches. We hardly touched any of that. We have storage here. This is we're using as on long trips. We'll use it as a hamper. Of course, only been gone 4 days. I mean, there was squat in there. I mean, it's a pretty good size area. Giant hamper. No clothes in there hardly for 4 days. Space on the other side here is smaller. Lots of room. Turning around over here, the USB charge thing was very handy. And then there's an outlet so we could plug in computers and phones and stuff, and it could reach the table. If we had the table here, you'd have things on the counter. That worked nicely. Again, there's an outlet right there. I've got outlets all over the place, so that worked well. One of the things that we discovered, kind of a silly little thing, but the silverware drawer here, we need to put something here. On the way back, this slid, and I think this moving in the drawer, it got some momentum going around some of those turns. It opened this door, and we had some silverware fly out on the floor. So that we'll just put something in there to keep that tray from sliding, and that way it won't get that pounding and have that inertia pop that open. We had empty cupboards for the most part. I mean, like I said, 3 nights, 4 days. We've got more storage space than we knew what to deal with. So, like I said, I figure, a couple weeks, no problem. The sink, I've got some of these collapsible things. So we had a collapsible item we put right here and put the soap in that. Just bring this over, put some hot water in there for washing the dishes, rinsed them here, and then we got the drying rack thing right here. All that worked really well. This is our little water dispenser for our drinking water. We drink local spring water. The 50-gallon freshwater tank was simply for showers and dishes, washing your hands, that kind of thing. So speaking of water, this is what we came back with. About 5/8 of a tank for 3 days, or 4 days, 3 nights. So we could have been more conservative. We're still figuring out the systems, and so yeah. Again, the water bottle's removed, but there's a water bottle that goes back in the corner and is strapped in place. For the drinking water, we basically went through 5 gallons. But you can see there's just lots of empty space. I mean, we're not pushing any space. I got back and drained the gray tank underneath, and this is a switch that turns on the pump, and it's sitting in a warehouse, and there's a sewer access all the way to the back of the building, back in the alley back there. I hooked a hose to it, turned on the pump, it pumped it all the way out there, drained it lickety-split. It's 5 gallons a minute, and so yeah, that worked well. These are my rodent deterrent lights that turns on LED lights underneath the trailer. We were kind of surprised because I'd only tested them in the warehouse here, how much that lit things up. They're up underneath the trailer between the support members of the floor and everything, and they're just shining down. But yeah, they cast a good halo. Nothing that would bother if you had neighbors. We didn't have any neighbors, but if you did, wouldn't bother anybody. But I definitely think it would, unless a rodent wants to be seen, it really, they cast a lot of light. I also have them under the hood of my truck, keep them out of my engine compartment. So yeah, water storage worked well. Everything was good at night. Getting ready for bed, we would go with the red lights, and so that was nice. Not too bright. You're getting ready for bed, whatever. So they came that way. They're dimmable. We didn't use the dimming feature. We just used the red or the white. Lights up the counter nice. We got good lighting in here. So, and they're individually switched, so I can switch one of these, at this end. You can switch them on or off if you want. I usually have them both on. They're switchable at the door. So let's take a look at the one last room, and this is in this room. My vent down there. My vent idea worked great. I didn't want to trim the door up high or leave a gap at the top, that kind of thing. I've owned a lot of travel trailers over the years. They're either short at the top or short at the bottom, so the air can draw in when you have the fan on, because the fan doesn't do any good in a sealed room. So I didn't want to cut the door like that, so I put this pass-through on the side right here. Allows air to go between the two rooms, and so you can have the vent on when you're in the bathroom, if you're taking a shower or whatever, and it just worked really, really well. Really well. I like a nice hot shower, no steam. Well, the shower worked perfectly. It's 32 inches by 32 inches, and it just was comfortable size. No worries, no problems. Like I said, we did use our fans a fair amount, and a couple times we had one drawing in and one exhausting, They worked great. The light in the bathroom was sufficient. Matter of fact, it was too much. My wife said that she wants me to put another light in that is much dimmer for at night when she gets up to use the bathroom, that it's not so hard. It wasn't bright enough. I mean, you go in and close the door, it's dark in there. So you turn on that light, and it's like bang. So going to come up with something else in that regard. This Nautilus door worked fine and everything. I liked it, but we got back and there's a little bit of water in the shower, and I'm like, why is there water in the shower and everything? And it took me a while to realize that it was from the door. So when you close the door, some water squeezed, because I wiped out the shower. It was all dry in there. And then we drive here, half-hour drive, bumpy road, windy road. We get back and we park in the warehouse here, and there's not very much, just a little bit on the floor of the shower. I'm like, where the heck did that come from? Did it siphon out of the the shower thing itself? Like, I don't know. It's all on this side of the shower. So then it hit me. It's probably what was squeegeed when you close that door. It squeegees that shower door, and that water has to go somewhere. So it drained out on the trip home. I'm guessing that's what that was. So anyway, my wife used the outlet for a hair dryer. I've got an electric toothbrush that was plugged in, so that all worked fine. Decent counter space. We were happy with that. Again, we got storage, out the wazoo as far as we're concerned. Medicine cabinet. So we got two different mirrors. We got one there. And then, last but not least, the throne. Well, this was our first time using it. I've owned it for a long time. I got it a long time ago for the car trailer trips. At the racetrack and stuff. If you didn't want to have to hike or stand in line or something, we'd have this, and ended up never using it. And so this was our first experience with it. And even though where we stayed there was a vault toilet, at night and first thing in the morning, it's not that you couldn't go out in the cold and go do that kind of thing, but being old and spoiled, we liked having it right here. So during the day we did use the outhouse or the vault toilet, and there really wasn't anybody else at the campground when we were there, so not like we had to wait for anybody. But this worked fine. It really, I was I was pleased, and so that was one of those things that we didn't know how it was going to perform. It's a big deal, and so yeah, very pleased. And then another thing, I thought, what if the thing had a failure? What if the thing's not working right? Well, the nice part is that you can remove the cartridge that's in there, and you could treat this just like it's one of those 5-gallon bucket toilets, or some of those other styles, and just go with the bags. And I have some of those bags from days gone by, and so I'm gonna have to stash those in here, so that if you ever did have a problem, not a problem, can be overcome. Again, outlet right here. I forget how often they say to charge the battery, because this is 12 volt operated, and I don't have a hardwired, although I could have, I just didn't. And so we just plug the charger in right there, short reach. All's good. The toilet's mounted in place, so it's not going anywhere. It's a regular, regular toilet seat. So, yeah, much better than a cassette toilet or that type of thing I've used, tent camping, that kind of thing. So, yeah, we were pleased with that. So, yeah, don't know what else to report on. Focus camera. Yeah, everything just worked very well. We were very happy. I didn't know what to expect. Big concern was whether or not this trailer was even going to hold together. Being that, once I started getting into it and looking at how these things are made and the quality of the welds and so forth, I wasn't sure the trailer itself would hold together. But I, was underneath this thing on a creeper and a light and short maiden voyage. It looks okay so far. I am going to upgrade the tires. They are a Load Range C tire on there, which is, for 7,000 pounds, that's just the bare minimum. So my car trailer is a 7,000 pound rated trailer. I got Class E, or Load Range E tires on that. And so I'm going to get either D or E for this. It just depends on the size, what's available. And but I like overkill, especially that type of thing. So I'll probably get a D or E, whatever's available. But I'll get those probably before the next trip. What else? What else? I think that's it. I mean, I've mentioned to you before, I don't like, I bought white Velcro. And the white Velcro, and it was a Velcro brand. It didn't stick. This is the black stuff that came with the covers. So I put it on. I don't like the way it looks, so I got to come up with something different. Attach the white with staples or something. But anyway, because you didn't see the white against the white wall, you see the black. And I don't like it, but it worked well. So gets points for working. That's important. So, and the cabinets, again, that was a big concern in the beginning. These are, off-the-shelf cabinets purchased at Home Depot. They're particle board. They're heavy. That's why one of the reasons why this whole build was heavy. You figure, just the floor. It was a double floor. We got 3/4 inch plywood on the floor. I put an inch of insulation and another 3/4 inch floor on top of that, and then the flooring on top of that. So nothing is really light in this 50-gallon freshwater tank, 46 gallons of gray water, 16.5 kilowatt hours of battery. Really didn't build it to be lightweight. The wall, that's the regular thickness wall made with 1/2 inch plywood, and 2x4s. So it's not light, and it doesn't matter the truck. The truck, pulled a fifth wheel that was over double the weight of this thing, and hardly knew it was there. So it's not the truck issue; it's the trailer issue. It's a 7,000 pound maximum rated trailer, and I'm just right there, about 6,500 pounds. So I like margin, and that's just not a lot of margin. So anyway, hopefully we don't have any issues going ahead. All these these are regular Formica countertops, so got particle board with the laminate on it, not light. Like I said, off the shelf cabinets, so that's particle board. And so my concern was that, hey, the particle board's going to fall apart, rattling down the road. And like I said, short little trip I went out when I went to the DMV and weighed the trailer and all that. Nothing has moved. no issues. Of course, I'll keep a close eye on everything, but so far so good, which means I'm a happy camper. Looking forward to the next trip. We'll probably do one more short one before we head out of state and go for thousands of miles. So this was kind of long-winded, but I just wanted to give you an update and overview of all the things, all the systems as they saw their first test. And this is my first rodeo when it comes to building my own. I've done some remodeling and redid a vintage trailer before, and always do my own little upgrades and stuff. But it's the first time, to design and build something like this. And this is a cargo trailer converted to a travel trailer. So in some regards, I was faking it because, like I said, I didn't see anybody else's out there that really suited me. There's some nice ones out there, and they're fancy and all that, but they just weren't the big picture that we wanted. A big thing for my wife was, she's kind of claustrophobic, so she wanted enough of an open area, which is hard to, do in a small trailer, because one of the objectives was to have something that was small, that we could basically fit in, like, a parking spot, where you pull in and take up two. We're a little bit long in that because the truck is this is like with the tongue and everything about 20 feet, and the truck is just a hair over 20 feet. So, or 40 feet, but you go in, we can pull it off. So, ideally, I think 18 feet would be, for us, like the ideal length of it. I just couldn't find an 18-footer at the time. There's, 16 and 20s are much more popular sizes. My Hallmark car trailer is an 18-footer, but they don't need, to my knowledge, Hallmark doesn't even make an 18-footer anymore. So it's not a popular size because I have to cut the panels. They're 4-foot wide panels, and you stay with those kind of lengths. I think that's my thought on why they do what they do. And so, but this worked fine. We made this size work. We had some friends come over while we were camping, and they came in here. We had 4 people in here, and they're like, we can't believe, they're looking at the outside, and they come in, and I can't believe how roomy it is in here. In the bathroom, and all, they were kind of blown away. But my wife and I were happy. She didn't feel claustrophobic. It's plenty wide enough here. We've had travel trailers where, you couldn't hardly get by, each other because of the layout, And this is plenty, 2 people can walk through here at the same time, and there's plenty of room. So, worked out well. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more, cargo trailer conversion adventures and updates. Might do one where I only use the panels on the roof and see how that works out. So, got all sorts of things I want to check on and play with, and so hopefully it's worthy of watching, and if so, I appreciate you liking and subscribing, and we'll catch you next time.